morning. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to do something which many people might consider a very simple thing to cook, but with this channel, it's for people who are experienced cooks, intermediate, and people who are just beginning. So this one is more for the beginners, but I'm sure it will interest other people because there are various ways to do this. I'm going to actually cook some sausages and do an onion gravy, but then I'm going to use some of the sausages in a second recipe. So if you're trying to extend your budget and you pick up some sausages, if they might be on special or the price might be reduced, this is just two simple ways that you can use those sausages to make some nice, interesting meals. So here we are, we're at the stove. I'm going to put some heat on my fry pan and just a very little bit of oil in there. That's a bit of olive oil. I think that there wouldn't even be, probably about half a tablespoon of oil that I've put in there. Now these are my sausages. I'm using pork sausages. You can use any sausages you want. Now I've had them in the fridge overnight to defrost. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some puncture marks in each of the sausages. And that will help to release the fat while they're cooking. So I'm just going to break them apart and put them in my fry pan. Now we're just going to want to cook those on a medium heat. Don't cook them on a high heat because you want to make sure, being thick sausages like that, they're going to take a while to cook all the way through. So if you have the heat too high, they're going to cook or even burn on the outside before the inside is cooked. So I've got that heat on high just to get things happening, but then I'll be turning it down to medium once the pan heats up. So you can see those sausages there cooking away. And what we'll be doing while they're cooking is just turning them on a regular basis. I'm just turning them a little bit ahead of time now just to show you. We'll just be turning them regularly to keep them cooking nice and evenly. So that's what we're going to be doing with those, and we'll come back when they're cooked, and that's probably going to take, because I'm cooking them on a medium heat, it's going to probably take close to 10 minutes to cook them. So we'll come back when they're a little bit more cooked. Now while that's cooking, I'm going to slice my onion and get that ready for the gravy. I'm just going to slice up my onion. Now I'm just going to make a small amount of onion gravy, so I'm only using one onion. And I'm also going to be doing mashed potatoes. That way we've got bangers and mash. So we'll just leave that there, and I'll peel my potatoes and get them happening as well. Now I've got my potatoes there, I'm just putting them on the heat. So I've peeled them and cut them. And the one thing with potatoes when you're cooking them, cut them the same size. That way they'll all cook at the same time. So I've just covered them with cold water. I'm just adding some salt to the water. I'm covering them and then I'm going to bring them to the boil. And there you can see our sausages are cooking away nicely on a medium heat. And we're just turning them every few minutes to make sure that they cook evenly. And then every now and then I'll just prick them again, and that enables them to release any fat that they've got there. There we go. So we'll come back when that's gone a little bit further. So we've got our sausages cooking away there, and they have finished cooking, so I'm just going to remove them. Just putting them on a plate. Now you can see I've got the potatoes cooking just at the front. I'm just going to switch these around. Okay, we'll put this at the back and we'll turn the heat on there to keep that cooking. And we'll move that one to the front and we'll put the heat onto that. Right. Right, now we're just adding all our onions into that fry pan. We don't need any more oil because we have the oil that we started with plus what's come off those sausages. So we're just going to cook those onions down, keep that cooking, and we'll come back when we've got a little bit further with that. Now the onions are still cooking, and I'm just checking the potatoes, and when I put my knife in, they're all nice and soft, it goes through easily, so we'll just turn off the potatoes and we'll mash them, get them ready. So I'm here at the sink and I'm just going to drain the potatoes. Right, they're drained. Right, so I'm just adding some butter and some milk. Now there are no firm measurements for this because it depends on lots of things, like what sort of potatoes are you using, how much liquid did they absorb during the cooking process, because different potatoes will absorb different amounts. So we're just mashing those away. Some people use cream. Some people even put cream cheese in their mashed potato. But I just do it plain. Mash them so that they're nice and soft and fluffy and no lumps. And there we go. is our mashed potato. Now, I just turned those off because they were cooked and I was busy with the mashed potato. But the onions are cooked now, so what we're doing is adding some flour. Now, in this container here, I've got 2 tablespoons of flour. Don't think that I'm going to be using that amount. I'm just putting half of that in. Now, I will add a little bit more. So I say I would have added 1.5 tablespoons of flour to that onion. Just mixing it around and cooking it. And I'm going to be adding, now that flour that I used is gluten-free flour, but I'm using an OXO cube here. Now the OXO cube is not gluten-free. This is for myself, and I am not gluten intolerant, but gluten does have an effect on an autoimmune disease that I have. So as long as I try to avoid it as much as possible, I can tolerate very small amounts, so I'll be okay with this. But if you were cooking it for someone who was gluten intolerant, you would need to be very careful about, you wouldn't use the OXO cube, you would use some other beef stock cube or beef stock powder that doesn't contain any gluten or any wheat. Okay, I'll just get some liquid and I'll be back. So I'm just very slowly going to be pouring some liquid into this. This is on a medium heat. So we're getting all those little burnt bits of sausage off the bottom of the pan as we're doing this, and all that flavour is going into the gravy. The same with any little burnt bits of the onions. It's all going in and flavouring our gravy. So we're just bringing that up to a boil and letting it thicken. If it's a little too thick, just add a little bit more water, depending on the consistency that you like your gravy. And there you have it, there's our onion gravy. Just a little bit more, it's a little bit too thick for my liking. Oh, that's perfect. So there you have it. And there we have it. We've got, I've only put one sausage on there because it's for me and that's all I want to eat. But generally you'd put 2 sausages per serve, your mashed potato and the beautiful peas there to have with it. So there's you have bangers and mash with onion gravy. Now these are the other 4 sausages that I've got left. I'm going to cut them up and we're going to make curried sausages. Okay, I'll just put some water on to boil because we're going to be serving our curried sausages with rice, a little bit more salt, and I have put the heat on this front pan here, and we're going to be adding some oil. About half a tablespoon. We're going to be adding onion. And I don't have any fresh garlic, but I'm using some crushed garlic from a jar. Now I'm just going to cook that until those onions are translucent, so about 2 minutes. The heat hasn't got up on that pan yet, so it might be a little bit longer than 2 minutes, but we'll come back when we've got the onions where we want them. Okay, so they've been cooking for about 2.5 to 3 minutes. So now we just add our curry powder, and we need a tablespoon of curry powder. And we'll just cook that through for 30 seconds. That releases all the fragrance and the flavours from that powder by cooking it, so don't skip this step. And we're adding our flour. Now, I can see that there's not enough oil in that pan, because it did say to use the pan that you cook the sausages in, but I used that to do the last recipe with the onion gravy. So I've just put a little bit more oil in that pan there, and I'm adding the flour. So there's 3 tablespoons of flour there, and I'm adding gluten-free flour, because this again is something that I'll eat, and I'd like it to be gluten-free. So we're just cooking that up for another 30 seconds. Now I'm just judging this by eye. I've got chicken stock here. I had this in the freezer, and I need 1 litre. So I say that there's about 1 litre there, but I may have to add some more liquid to this. Oh, it's not quite defrosted. I'm using a whisk here because I just don't want lumps in my flour there, so this will help eliminate that. It smells lovely. Oops, I'm splashing it everywhere. Splashing it everywhere, and I've just cleaned my stove. I'll just grab some more liquid in case I need to add some more. Okay, so we're just going to add our peas and carrots. There's a cup of peas there. It did say 1 carrot, but I like carrots, and it depends on the size of your carrot. But I've added 2 carrots there. Now we also need to add some sugar. Some salt, and some pepper. And we just want that to come to the boil. We want those carrots to cook. And while that's happening, we'll add our rice. Okay, we'll come back when that's cooked. It's got to come to the boil and cook for 3 minutes. It's just come to the boil now, and you can see that it's thickening up quite a lot. So I think I'll keep stirring this because I don't want it to catch on the bottom. And at this stage, we can add our sausages, which have all been diced up. If you find it's a little bit thick, just add a little bit of water, just a little bit at a time, to get the consistency that you want. Now I'll just test those carrots to see how they're going. They need more cooking. So I'll add a lid, I'll turn it right down, and that can cook away very slowly for a few more minutes. And there you have it. That's curried sausages with rice. And the quantity I made, I put 4 sausages in, so that's 4 serves. But have a look at the recipe and see what it says. It did say to add more sausages, but I'm just cooking it for me. It'd be too much to add more sausages. And that one packet of sausages there were 6 in there. So out of that, I have made 6 meals. Have a go. Leave some comments if you do. And if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, the thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe, because that way you'll always know when there's a new video out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.